Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird brain, it's a plane, it's iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
Yes, this is Walter. Hey, it's Monday morning, and I am back again. I wasn't going to do a show, but you know what? There was things that were left out. I had my guest on yesterday, and I wanted to give him his share of the time, which I felt that I did, about that convention. I hate to say it. You know what? These conventions are getting really kind of stale to me. It seems like the actors who come are a little bit too full of themselves sometimes, and I'm referring to Billie Piper. She was a total ass, in my opinion. I hate to say that for people who think she's very nice, because she was not nice to me. She seemed a bit arrogant, actually. Like, you know, hey, are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? Like, she gave me that attitude problem, like, you know, why is this like piece of shit talking to me? And that really kind of pissed me off, dude. You know, I paid what for most people, not myself, but for most people would be their monthly income on this freaking convention to see both of them. I really, you know, I've been watching this show since I was 12 years old, and to be treated like a piece of dog pile of crap by her just was so disrespectful. I mean, you know what? She shortened her day. She gave them a hard time because I didn't realize, of course, England's, you know, time zone's different than ours. I don't know where she's living right now, but she really was very arrogant to me. The first time I kind of rubbed it off because we had this photo shoot, and she just kind of just blew me off, and it was a dual photo op, which, you know what, I was kind of glad because Tennant kind of lightened the mood. He was very nice. I shook the man's hand. He obviously knows who, you know, basically where his meals are coming from if he's going to be in this line of business. It's from us. And I respect the man for that. Dude, I mean, people, years ago, I missed it, but I remember when Tom Baker came around back in the early 80s, everybody boasted about how incredibly nice this man was. And I hate to say it, I heard in real life Tom Baker was a real asshole. I apologize for the profanity. But he knew when he came to Philadelphia or he went to any convention, he treated people like they were the only one there. And he had large crowds. And I hate to say it, back then, not only did he have large crowds, but he was the one who resurfaced the U.S. that, you know, basically resurfaced the planet, like making Doctor Who #1. I mean, everybody knew Doctor Who from Tom Baker. Everybody affiliates Doctor Who with Tom Baker's. They forget about the other three actors who played the part. Everybody knew that Tom Baker was the Doctor, and that's all they really cared about. They didn't care that, you know, which I really enjoyed the other three Doctors before him. But they didn't come off with this attitude problem like, oh, I'm better than you. Why are you actually talking to me? What is your problem? Don't you know that I'm better than you are? I mean, that's the kind of attitude problem she really came off with. And I'm like dumbfounded. I'm perplexed that she would be such an ass to people who basically are put her where she was at. I mean, who knew about Billie Piper being a musician before then? Nobody really gave two craps. That was a British thing. So, you know what? I just like to tell her to just kind of grow up a little bit. I don't care if you have a family now. It doesn't mean that, you know, if you're going to come off with that attitude and be selective on who you're going to treat with respect, please don't come back to our country because you're not welcomed by my standard. I mean, I had taken that up with Karen Gillian. She was another one that had a real bad attitude problem. And, yeah, you know what? You got to realize who your fans are, and you don't disrespect them like she obviously did. Anyway, I just had to get that, and I had to vent that out. You know what? I have some other negative news to talk about, but before I do that, I just want to say I want to reach out there. I finally got this film. It was from a friend of a friend, I guess, so to speak, because I really honestly don't know him. But great guy. I met him once at a horror convention. His name is Ryan. I apologize, Ryan, about your last name. I don't want to mess it up. But he put out this film called AGONI, and I basically wrote a review, so to speak, a comment back on his Facebook page. And I basically told him, you know what? I really expected this film to be really bad. I thought it was because he basically used whatever he could scratch together. The man doesn't make that much money, so it's a very low-budget film, and I understand that. But I really went in with the expectation this is going to be a real piece of crap. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't mean to say that, but I'm just filled with negativity. I'm been called odious before, so I just kind of went in. But it actually, I was away for 4 days. I come back, and lo and behold, the film is one of the packages that came in the mail when I was away. So I opened it up. My friend and co-host yesterday, Todd, actually got his too. But I figured, you know what? I looked at it. For one thing, I was impressed by his cover, the artwork. I thought it was a little bit generic looking at first, but then it all came together when you watched the film, for one thing. And then I opened up the disc. I was like, dude, you really did, you put your blood, sweat, and tears not only into what you produced, but you also incorporated it into the artwork on your disc, the way you put the cover together. You obviously, this is a passion for you, and it shows really strongly. I told him, I said, in a review, I actually told him, I wrote on a review, I said, obviously, you have the same energy level that, I'm not saying he does anymore, because he's a very nice man, Kevin Smith had when he had originally did Clerks. I mean, he had not much money. Kevin Smith had to literally scrounge credit cards together just to pay for his movie, his film of Clerks. And it was incredible. And it was like, this is the same energy that Ryan puts into his film. His is more on the line of the, early, it looks and feels and acts like the early 70s exploitation / snuff films. They're not real, but, the mockumentary snuff films, or whatever you want to call them. I thought Ryan did an incredible job with his film. I can't say enough. I wrote a long review, and it's like, keep up the good work. Push this film as far as you can, because you did a really, really good job with it. I don't want to see this be something that gets swept under the rugs. And honestly, I mean, I've been exposed to movies over the years like The Blair Witch Project, which I thought was horrible. I thought it was horrendous. I don't know what people saw in that, and somehow it got commercialized and put out in the big theaters, and it was like, I think I might have saw that years ago or had seen that movie with my parents. Maybe not, but I just remember it was like, what is this piece of shit? I mean, it was a crappy film. I'm sorry. I don't know why people think it's so great. I mean, it did stir off a lot of films like it, but none of them were as bad as, none of them compared to Blair Witch, because they were much better. So they, Blair Witch started the whole thing with, hey, let's get a video cam and do first-person shooter. No puns intended, because that's actually meant for video games. But, shooting the film through and seeing it through the perspective of the person holding the camera. I mean, that's the only thing that came out of that movie. The rest of the stuff was just total crap. So, I expected that with Ryan's film. I'm sorry. I didn't expect anything. I've been told and have seen that everything has been done is pretty much just repeated over and over again. Ryan did not do that. The film was incredible, in my opinion. You may not like it. You might look at it and it's like, what are you talking about? This film is horrible. It's like, well, that's your opinion. But I'm giving you my opinion on Ryan's film. I thought he did an incredible job. He obviously put a lot of thought into his, thing. I felt the film was, in a entertaining way, was very creepy. How can a movie be creepy and entertaining? Well, he did that. He actually really did it. I mean, from a few scenes in, there was something that it shows this girl, like, who's supposedly dead. He basically was filleting her back. So, presumably, like, it looked like he basically had her spine hanging out. And which he didn't. He didn't have the money to do that. But the camera was so grainy, it was perfect because it really looked like he basically cut her back open. At least because it was so grainy. He was smart enough that when he shot, like, he used himself in the film as a serial killer, that you couldn't really make out his face, which was really good because that just means it leaves more up to your imagination. There was people who nitpicked it because there was something involved with, basically grabbing somebody's blood specimen that had AIDS and basically pricking people with it and saying, "Well, the AIDS virus wouldn't last that long." It's like, it's a freaking film. Who cares? I mean, the movie is entertaining. It definitely kept my interest. I wasn't squirming or anything like that, and it was a good length. I mean, there's a couple parts that were maybe a little bit seemed long, but honestly, it just made the movie flow. That was the flow of the movie. His transitions were good. They were really good. The man was smart enough not to use dissolves or anything like that. He did a really, really good job with that. I thought his supporting character to his was excellent. He added, some really nice looking girls, which helped, and he actually added humor, which it definitely needed in certain spots just to lighten the mood because it was a very dark and deep film. So anyway, overall, I think, Ryan, you did a really good job. I wish I can go. I hope I can go. I don't think I can. He's going to be up in Pittsburgh, actually, premiering his film. And that's another thing. I've seen a lot of independent films, and most of them, I'm telling you, there was one called Zombie X's, and a friend from work, her daughter actually got a part in the movie and got paid for it. And it's like, I couldn't even make it through that movie. It was so bad, this movie called Zombie X's. And this is an independent film done in Pennsylvania, that it was like, it's one of those things they just try to add all humor and make it a horror film, a comedy horror. And it's like, it's comedy shit. It's bad. And I've seen a lot of films like that. I'm sick and tired of films like that. So when I saw Ryan's, it was definitely a refreshing mix on these crappy independent films I constantly see around the area. So anyway, please check out. It's spelled AGONI. And the box cover, I told Ryan, I just texted him, I said, yeah, the box cover actually fits into the very last scene in the film. Now, since this is supposed to be found footage, the movie he made is found footage, he kept it within that realm. It's basically, it was basically evidence that basically the cops of this fictional town, I assume, of AGONI, they had discovered, this guy and his his serial killer co-worker or whatever. I don't know. That's not an appropriate word. But the one who was his accomplice with him, that they found the footage, and they kept it within that realm. So you really feel like you're watching something that really happened. I mean, it looks like a 70s grainy film, which I have no problem with. And it looks like somebody basically stumbled upon this tape of these two creepy people that were murdering people. So, it literally looks like somebody picked it up and it's like, oh my God, these people are killing people. And you don't know if they got caught or what happened to them, but it looks real. I mean, that's the whole point. You get these Hollywood people who try to do the same thing, and it just turns out to like total garbage. This had like no budget probably that high, and it looks incredible. So that's just my opinion. Anyway, please check out Ryan's film. I wanted to go back shortly about what really pissed me off with Billie Piper. David Tennant, the man was great. He was very nice. He actually shook my hand. I couldn't get that out of Matt Smith or Karen Gillian because I guess they were afraid they were going to get AIDS from me or something. I don't know. They don't like Americans, probably. That's what it just seemed like to me. I apologize. I just got a beep on my Facebook page. But, yeah, Matt Smith was incredibly nice. I tried to walk away from him. He still kept eye contact with me. I was like, dude, you impressed me. You don't have to do any more. You just impressed me. You know what? Until the end of time, until my last breath, I'll remember that Tom Baker, Peter Davison, which I did see in person years ago, and David Tennant, who Peter Davison's now his father-in-law, were all very nice men. I even met Colin Baker. That man was incredible. I mean, I know he had a short-lived career as Doctor Who. The man was incredibly nice. But anyway, I just want to lead this into back and forth. I want to give you a little news. But it was funny because my man that I listen to, I'm being hypothetical. He's not my man. It's Rush Limbaugh. Did talk about on Friday, it's like, the news is showing how, the economy's on an upscale and unemployment numbers are 5.4%. But then he mentions the workforce, 93 million people are not working. And that's beats the records of the amount of unemployed or capable people of working that are unemployed back in 1977. That's when Carter was in office. I mean, this man has surpassed the poverty level in the U.S., Obama. He's surpassed what Carter did. Of course, he ran for 2 terms. He got reelected. That didn't help. So, that being said, I mean, I fortunately have a good job, and I'm very grateful for it. But when I fork out a month's salary, pretty much, not for me, again, because I make above the norm on what I get paid. But when I fork out an average American's income for the month to see somebody and they can't even give you 30 seconds of acknowledgement, that is very disgraceful. That is very arrogant, and that is very childish. And, this woman now has kids, and it's like, you know what? If you act that way around your kids, I feel sorry for them, for Billie Piper's kids, because she is she was very obnoxious. And, everybody, I've read articles. I was trying to find one that somebody else encountered the same thing I did. But you know what? They're going to bury those stories because she is like a cash cow right now, at least for this, it was WizardCon yesterday. So they're not going to pull up like, well, she mistreated about some X amount of people. They're not going to show that because it's money out of their pocket that they're not going to get back, or they're not going to even get. So anyway, and you know what? If you really want to look at stories, don't focus, make judgments on me. I'm looking at these stories. There was 3 in a row that I saw, folks. One was Florida principal caught in car with weed, student, and unbuttoned shirt. And it's a 45-year-old woman. This was on Gawker.com. I mean, the woman, it says according to authorities, however, she was with an 18-year-old he was 18. That's still underage. You're the teacher, they're the student, and you're fooling around with them and getting high with them, and you call that professional? And you look at me like I'm the piece of shit? You know what, people? Wake up. There's another story, and this one I don't even want to bother to read, but it says teacher gets fired after a group of students find her adult film alias. She was under a different name. She's got these porn she was doing, a school teacher. And she tries to blame somebody else for the thing, because I know there was an article attached. I don't see it right now, and you know what? I don't even give 2 craps. But she was trying to blame it on someone else. And it's like, it's not my fault that I made these films or these got exposed. I was forced into this. And it's like, no, you weren't. You know what you were doing, so kind of confess up to it. It really pisses me off. I guess I'm going to have to put a little bit of an explicit rating on here just to save me some time. By the way, the one thing that was very nice about that convention yesterday, the people, my friend Todd said yesterday, my guest host, he's absolutely right. A lot of the people that were just cosplay people or people just dressed up, there was a guy taking donations who dressed up like Spock. He had a charity going. The man was incredibly nice. The cosplay people, for the most part, were really nice. They weren't asking money. They were there to have a good time, and they treated you like a human being. Hint, hint, Billie Piper. So anyway, here's another one. Two other stories. I'm not going to read them. It just to give you an idea what kind of scum we have out there. It says Jamaica Lewis charged after severely burning 2 toddlers with hot oil. And that was in a dreaming demon. So, a 23-year-old woman with 2 kids, African American, and she's burning them with hot oil deliberately. And again, you got to look at me. I mind my own business. I basically live as a hermit in my room, and I'm the one who's getting, oh, you're a creep, you're some type of. I'm not the one going around on the streets shooting up crap in my arms or snorting shit. And you're treating me like I'm the one who's the bad one. And you're taking money out of my pocket. So you're treating me like a piece of crap. And you're also putting your hands in my pocket, taking any money I have. But, I'm paying your income to do nothing. So it really gets me mad. Anyway, there was another story. Sarah Schrock, it looks like, accused of putting food shavings in milk served to family. And that was also in a dreaming demon. This was in, it looks like Virginia. She's 56 years old. You got all these fucking nutcases and these whack jobs who basically, you feel sorry for them, and you treat, like, people who see me, treat me like I am shit under a dog's, I'm dog shit under your show. And you know what? It gets really old after a while. I don't understand how people just can act like such fucking assholes. So anyway, I just had a vent about that. That really just ruined my weekend. I hope that when I see Ministry, because I know Al Jurgensen basically shows his beliefs. He doesn't hide the fact that he's anti-Bush and that he's anti-Republican. I'm Republican. The man is honest. I will listen to his music. I gave him $100 to buy a ticket to go down to the TLA on Friday. And why did I do that if we don't have the same political beliefs? Because I respect the man for being honest and not being a shithead. So, it makes a big difference. I'm trying to think also, and I'm going to see Kevin Smith and Stan Lee on next Saturday. There's some comic book convention down Atlantic City. I'm only going down for that one day. Then I go back to work and get punished again at work. But you know what? At least I'll get probably treated with a lot more respect. And if I have the cash or even have to fork it out somehow by taking it out on my 401k account, I probably will just to see Stan Lee. I'd rather be, fork $200 out for somebody who will treat me with respect than pay almost $1,000 for somebody who treats me like a piece of dog shit. I mean, that is just unbelievable, Billie Piper. What is your problem? So anyway, that is the end of my show today. I'm just kind of recapping. I apologize if I offended anybody if I'm getting too boisterous or putting down Billie Piper, but she was a real ass. I am so sorry, but I just had to say that. Everyone, have a good week. I will be back during the course of the week. Maybe. I will see.